Hi guys, it is February the 3rd here, I believe. It's Tuesday? No, why am I saying Tuesday? Saturday. So it's been a good week. It's been a short week, so that's nice. It was Auckland anniversary, so so that was good. And I just hung out with my friend, which was quite cool. I'm really starting to want to, I guess, get some fitness in me and lose some weight, because I know I've put on quite a bit of weight. So yeah, I'm trying to do something about it, and I thought about running, which I'm not a runner whatsoever. I thought about running, but I had my second spiritual healing. When I was with my friend, I thought about, look at those, lovely. My French braid my hair. Now it's gone super curly. I talked to my friend last week when I saw her, and things aren't going well with her partner, and she's not sure what's going to happen, but she talked about moving to the Gold Coast. Now, the Gold Coast is a place in Australia that I actually love, and the cool thing about New Zealand is there's an actual, like, it's the craziest thing for me to think about, because, like, if I went, I could easily pick up my stuff right now, go live in Australia with no qualms. Like, there's no hoops, there's no nothing. By the sounds of it, healthcare is covered there. You can stay there indefinitely without a visa. You get paid better, and I looked up all these stats, and it was crazy. Like, over there in Gold Coast, it's about 20 to 31,000 for overall for a year for you to live with all your expenses. And here, the cost of living has gone up to $26, but I didn't know that at the time, so I put in the cost of living with the living wage, because that's essentially what the cost of living is, and it's like 47,000, and the difference in wage is like $6, and the exchange rate between the two countries is pretty much minimum. So what would be $6 there might only be like a $5 difference, but $5 an hour more is still like $10,000, $11,000 on a 40-hour wage. So I looked into that. It is not out of the question. I just feel like I need some friends there. My friend was just here today. Things aren't going well with her partner, and she's thinking about moving over there. Her family lives in Brisbane, but like the commute is not far from Brisbane. Like, I would be able to see her if she decided to move to Brisbane. She loves Gold Coast as well and would love to be there, but it might be more convenient for her with her children or child, depending on how many of them she takes, to actually move to Brisbane where her family is. I don't want to be in Brisbane. I've never been interested in Brisbane. I've gone there 3 or 4 times. Slight backstory: my ex gamed with a bunch of people playing World of Warcraft from all over the place. A lot of them were from New Zealand and Australia. This Australian couple, he had been playing with them for like 20 years. Anyways, we went over, met them at the wedding, met them at their wedding for the first time. We became godparents to their 2 girls, then their 3rd child, which was a boy. And so we went over to Brisbane quite a few times. A couple of those times we stayed in Gold Coast. I loved Gold Coast. But this is also the lady who my husband went to when he was having issues and confided in her, private issues in our marriage, and she was actually said that she would leave her husband for him and move over here for him with her 3 children. Obviously that didn't happen. Not obviously, but that didn't happen. And in fact, I'm not even sure if they're on speaking terms. But of course I'm blamed for that. And obviously they're not my godchildren anymore. And I'm blocked on all social media or any way to be able to communicate with them. Fast forward 6 years. I've gone to Gold Coast once by myself with just the girl that has their 2 children. That's my friend, and I love it. Like, it's quieter there, it's cheaper there, everything's right there in Surfers Paradise. That's where I fell in love with. It's so close to the beach, there's grocery stores, there's everything. SeaWorld is literally just around the corner. Yeah, so I've done all the numbers and I would love to be able to move there. I really need a change. My spiritual healer has said to, like, not make any big moves. And she didn't really sound like she liked the idea that I was thinking about moving to Australia. Obviously, I'm not doing it anytime soon. My flatmate doesn't move out till May. My contract's not up here till October. So I really don't want to go right now. I want to concentrate on the healing side of things. But my healing went really well. The weird thing was, like, she said, some of the reason when I want to have a child is because I want to undo my past and kind of healing myself through having a child, which does make me feel quite guilty, and so that is weighing on my mind as I try to, like, process everything that she said to me. But yeah, it was interesting. I felt very, very drained this appointment. I was actually in such a, like, lull when she got out of her light speaking or tongue speaking, that she actually said she would call me back because she could just see, basically, I had had enough. My body had had enough. I didn't end up calling her back because, yeah, I had had enough. And so I felt super, super tired. It was interesting, when I went to bed in the nighttime, I had a dream that I've never had before, and it was, there was a baby in the room, and there was a cat on top of the baby, like, almost like it was gonna scratch it. The baby was crying. I went to tend to the baby. I pushed the cat off. But in pushing the cat off, when it kind of jumped on the floor, it jumped on its leg wrong or something like that, and it scurried off to hide. I comforted the baby, and then I went to find the cat, which I then had to, like, coax out of hiding, and then, like, try to mend that relationship with the cat that I had just kind of harmed, not meaning to harm it. And she kind of said that is really I was like, this is such an out of character dream for me. And she was like, that is your body processing what's going on and that trauma that you suffered as a child. So apparently we're going to dive deeper into that in the next session, which will be on Wednesday this week. So that'll be interesting. Still not sure how I feel about these appointments. It's very weird. It's really hard to explain. It's about 15-20 minutes of us bantering back and forth, telling her how things have been, kind of looking and her getting, like, bits of, like, I guess, information from, like, God, you could say. Well, it is God. That's who she's asking to come forward. And, like, saying these things and kind of being like, why is this coming up for me? Why can I see this kind of deal? And then we talk about it. And then she gets me to lay down, and she kind of speaks tongues over me, and it sounds a little bit alienish and crazy, and I can't really explain it, but for whatever reason, it actually is. I think it is doing something, because I feel last time I felt quite exhausted after it. This time I felt quite exhausted after it. I also had a headache. Now, last time I got a headache as well, it lasted 3 days, and I got this weird arm thing after Restore Flow. So this time, when Karen came from Restore Flow a few hours after the spiritual healing, I had told her that my spine last time had kind of felt like it was like not part of my body, like it needed to crack, and I wasn't sure if that was because she had like not manipulated my like tailbone, but she had like touched pressure points on it that somehow had configured this in my body. And so she decided not to do that this time, and instead she like put her hands here and like on here and on my back and on my wrists, and even did my feet, and she could feel certain things in it. The left side wasn't too bad, but the right side was quite bad. My head needed a lot of work, and my right foot needed a lot of work. So she just kind of assessed those and like touch pressure points or something. I can't really explain what she did, but she said like my one foot was really, really heavy when we started, and then as she just like kept putting, it almost felt like she was putting pressure on it, really, but like not pressure where it was hurting, just like it felt weird. But she said she totally felt like she needed that. I needed that, so I think she's gonna do that again, because she didn't realize how important it was until I said that this time. And my headache did ease after that. It was still there, but it did ease. And then I lay down, and she did the tummy thing, and I actually felt the day before she came, I went out for dinner. No, the day after she came, I went out for dinner. And I actually felt like it was lighter. And she could actually feel that my tummy apparently is cold up here. And so she was massaging it really well until it stopped. And she just sort of massages it in a circle, because apparently your intestines go that way. So she just massaging it in a circle. It feels really nice. She put some like oil or whatever, and just gives you a really good massage in a circular motion. And she could feel that it was like softening, and I feel like it's softening. I feel like it's not as heavy. And like I said, when I put on the dress the next day, I actually felt like my tummy was quite a bit flatter. Anyways, I also talked to her about how like I'm wanting to lose weight, and like I thought about running, and because she knows that I have a thyroid condition, because I've told her, she kind of said that with the hypothyroid, running probably wouldn't be a good idea for me. She thinks it would actually be way too exhausting for me, and then I'm better just to go on walks. So I googled kind of walking and what would be like appropriate, and they said, they say 7 days, but I personally only want to do like 5 days of around 50 minutes. So that can be doable. It's crazy. The last 2 days have been so windy and a little bit drizzly, but yesterday I left work and I had my headphones, I put them on, and I decided I was going to go the long way. So I did like a really weird tiki tour where I went up one street and then cut through a park and then went up went all the way up to like where I used to live. I was gonna cut through another park, but I decided not to. I cut through it at the top, so it just added on. But I literally passed my old house, so I basically went from work and I went up, then this way, this way, then up again, then that way, then down through the park. And it took me about 37 minutes, but I had walked to work as well, so that's about 12 to 15 minutes. So there's my 50 minutes. And I think I did just over 2 kilometers, because it was the app that I have does it in miles, so it was 1.74 miles is what I did in my walk in the nighttime, which was like 2 kilometers something. Or maybe I did 1.9 or something. No, I don't know. Somewhere around there. So I set myself a goal that today I was going to do another walk. I got my period today, so I was a little bit annoyed about that because it's 2 days early. But whatever, I was still like content. I was going to do a walk. And at first we were going to do One Tree Hill, but we decided to do our walk that we quite often do, which is Missions Bay to St. Heliers. We know it's a long walk. We just never really knew how long it was. So what we did is we walked one way. It took us about 40 minutes. Yeah, it took us about 40 minutes to walk there. The wind was on our back, so it wasn't as windy. It was still hard, and we were dodging the rain a little bit. Not dodging it, but like it was spitting on us. And it was funny to watch. Like there was a waterfall in the middle of the park, and it literally the waterfall like was going out of control, like the mist, and it was hitting us all the way on the path. It was actually crazy, really. Heaps of debris down as well, and like leaves nipping at my friend's ankles. But yeah, we made it, but we were starving, so we stopped to eat. I had 2 pieces of peanut butter, 750 mils of water, and a coffee before I left the house. And then that was earlier, that was at like 11, so this was at like 4:30. I was starving. It might have even been like 10 o'clock that I had the food at. So I was starving, so we got Focaccia bread. There was 4 pieces, but I only ate 2. It had lots of olives on it. I picked it off, but it was sun-dried tomatoes, garlic, and cheese. A little bit too much cheese for my liking, but oddly enough, my stomach never went off, and I thought it was 100% going to. So I don't know what kind of cheese they used, but it didn't go off. And some Kumar fries. So I had that. Oh, and I had the most beautiful raspberry, blueberry, strawberry, and another berry. It was a mixed berry smoothie. All that, and it was like so decent, was only $35. So that was like super good value for money in an area that actually is really high profile and classy, and I thought for sure it was going to be closer to like $50, but it wasn't. Yeah, so we ate that, and then we made the walk back. Now the walk back was way harder, and I think it took us about 45 minutes to 50 minutes just to walk back, because the wind was brutal. At one area, at one point we actually like went as close to the road as we possibly could on the path, because the sand, even though there was a barricade, the sand from the wind being so ferocious was actually blowing up in our eyes, and our hats were like going crazy. It was crazy because it was so windy, and then at times it was a little bit rainy, and then you'd have times when the sky would just open up and be beautiful and blue and warm and hot, and yeah, it was crazy. It was like almost 4 seasons one day. It was insane. And I think it was like dropping back and forth between like 22 degrees and 28 degrees, or 22 and 25 degrees or something. It was a little bit insane, but yeah, we did it. So in the end I did 6 kilometers, which was, I can't even remember, 3.74 or 3.94 miles. It was an hour and 38 minutes, I think it was, all up, according to my app. So yeah, so I was really happy that I was able to do it again today. I'll probably rest my legs tomorrow and then try to do it again on Monday. I'll take the long way home, even though it's late getting home, but Tuesday is a holiday, so I will probably try to get out on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I will probably have a break again because I do have a spiritual healing, and obviously I don't want to be exhausted for that. So we'll just see. I'm just gonna try, and I'm trying to make sure that I eat more veggies. That didn't really happen today, but I did only have those 2 meals between 11 and 4 or 11 and 5. So essentially I'm kind of doing, I guess, a little bit of intermittent fasting, hopefully. I did have a green tea tonight, but I don't know if that would matter too much because it's a herbal tea. Green tea with lemon. So I did have that a little bit later tonight. Just because I was super tired when I came home. Sorry. I do this and then I go to sleep and it takes me ages to fall asleep. Doesn't always, but yeah, it drives me nuts. But yeah, my friend wasn't quite ready to go home, so she stayed here and chatted for ages. So yeah. Yeah, so that I think kind of put you up to speed. I did find out that the person who kind of went to my my manager was the person that doesn't really like me, and she did demand that they do something about it. Yeah, so never really had that talk. However, it was very awkward at dinner the other night when she walked in last. There was a seat beside me, and she turned and was like, well, I'm not sitting there, I'll sit over here. So that did not go unnoticed by my team leader or 4 or 5 other people sitting at the table. So yeah, that was great. But yeah, I definitely need a change. I definitely would love to move to Australia, so I am looking for a new job. I haven't looked for jobs in Australia, but I am looking for new jobs here. My flatmate turned in her resignation to work, and so everybody knows now. So if I want, I can try to see if there would be someone who'd be interested in taking over her little place out there. But yeah, I think that kind of gets you up to speed on kind of what's happening with me and my thought process of my crazy brain that is always going. So yeah, I am going to go to sleep, and hopefully you kind of enjoyed this. At least it'll be an update from my friend who I know will watch this. And yeah, have a good evening, have a good weekend. It is Tuesday is a holiday here again. This is the amazing time of year where we have lots of holidays. So it was just Auckland Anniversary Day, which is for all of the North Island, and then the Christchurch has one, or not Christchurch, the South Island has one, but theirs is in November. And yeah, and then we all have, the entire country has Waitangi Day, which is where the Pakeha came, the Europeans came from England and tried to settle here, but they had to come to an agreement with the Maori people that were already here, the indigenous people of New Zealand, and they wrote a treaty that gave protection of parts of the land, protection of their language, and yeah, gave them certain rights and stuff. There's a whole nother story for some of the stuff that went down over this treaty, just like there is in Canada with people going into, you know, being taken away from their parents and being told they couldn't speak their language and blah 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 blah, all that kind of awful stuff that happened also happened to the people here after the treaty. but we have made leaps and bounds in this country with the treaty, and since I've even been here in the last 18 years. So it has been amazing. But I do know that the new government that has taken over is trying to almost like take back steps from everything we've just made. So I'm hoping enough of us, if it does come to a referendum, which it's supposed to, that something will be done about it, because it's just insane to try to take away what we have gained in this country in that regards, to, you know, just making the treaty, which is encompasses everything we do, teaching, nursing, like literally everything, working in partnership with one another, the peace that we have. It makes New Zealand who it is, and it makes it so special to live here. And I know I'm saying that I'm going to go over to Australia, but I do not think going over to Australia is a permanent thing. I just think that it's a little bit of a way for me to get some distance, and way for me to maybe heal and close the chapter on whether or not I'm going to have a child, and just leave that with God and decide what God's going to do with it, and just wait on Him on that, but not do anything in my own hands anymore. And yeah, just get a little bit of a fresh start, whether that just be for a year or whatnot. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not interested in getting another citizenship. I'm not really interested in being there for ages. I just want to go and experience something new while I am young. It's probably part of like my 40-year itch, you know, where I just feel like I need to do something different. And I've been so stagnant for so long now at this job, and I'm really just itching to try something new. And I would start in early childhood there, and then I might see what else I'd be able to get into. My spiritual healer really sees me doing more schooling, but more schooling means money, which I don't have, because a lot of studies you have to also do practicum, which is like completely and utterly normal, and you should have to do those, but that normally means that you don't get paid. And as a single person, I literally cannot afford to try to come up with, you know, living in Auckland, my rent alone is going to go up to $550. So I'm looking about $800 or $900. Yeah, I'm looking at about $700 to make ends meet every week. And so that's what, $2,800 to $3,000. I just can't save that. I cannot save $3,000. And it's normally not just 4 weeks. It's normally like can be up to 7 weeks. So really $8,000, $10,000 for me to be able to go on a practicum, because I'd also already have to drop down probably more days than I already am to be able to do study. So yeah, it's a tricky one when you are single and you can't really get any help, because the government says you make too much money to get help to do these things. And there's not very many scholarships that I would be able to get. Anyways, that was like a complete side note, and I was supposed to end 7 minutes ago, but I didn't. So I'm going to end now because I really need to get to bed, and I'm hoping I'm going to sleep in the morning, and then hopefully I will go for another walk. I'm not sure where the walk will be, but it'll be a different area, and it'll probably be another big loop. I'm trying to go to as many places that can kind of keep me off the road or not, so that not many people see me, kind of deal. But yeah, I'll try something like that, and we'll just see what I end up doing tomorrow. So have a good evening, have a good weekend, and I'm glad for the people that are on the other side of the world who are most likely going to watch this, in North America, that is it Willie the groundhog in Canada saw his shadow, I read, and so you guys are going to get spring very soon. I hope that does not mean that my summer is over here because you guys are going into spring. Wait, are you going into spring? Yes, you're just coming out of fall, winter. Yeah, I do not want fall to be here right at soon, but I do know that there are some leaves that are already starting to change. But yes, I'd like to keep the summer for as long as possible because it has been an amazing summer so far. But yeah, have a good weekend. Talk to you later.